Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to the GBHL YouTube video. You have your host GBHL Damian, and this is my hobby vlog number 14. Yeah, I'm back, and kind of amazingly, it's been 5 weeks since my last vlog. It doesn't feel like that at all. Time has been kind of flying by, and I thought I hadn't done one in a couple of weeks, but yeah, I've went and had a look, and it turns out it's been 5 weeks since I've posted anything. That was the last time I did my bumper half-hour version showing the Palace Guard and the elves. Reasons for this, it's been over Easter. We had the Easter break, so I was back at my parents for a bit, and you'll see more on that in a moment. And I've done bits and bobs here and there, but an awful lot of my free time was taken up over the last few weeks finishing off SBG issue 2, which will be launching at Destination Stockport on the weekend. But it just meant that my hobby time was severely limited, really. Every free moment I had was put into that. However, I have been doing some bits and bobs, and I'm actually halfway through a vlog. I'm doing a slightly different vlog that I have been working on for the last 5 weeks, kind of filming bits here and there that you'll see at some point. So it's a kind of longer process that you'll see the result of in a couple of weeks. But I realised I could kind of jump in the middle of it and do another mini vlog, and then kind of do the second part of the other vlog to be published in the future, so at least you get some kind of content and update from me. So yeah, my next vlog after this, if I'm going to be utterly honest, that project isn't going to be finished by next Monday, particularly because of the Desolation Stockport tournament. That's going to be taking up 3 days out of my weekend, but I'm hoping that project will be finished in a week's time. So in 2 weeks' time, sorry. So 27th, so probably around the 4th of May, or something, 3rd or 4th of May, that week. I should be back with a fairly big hobby vlog talking you through what I've been doing over the last 5 weeks in a bit more detail. But I do have a couple of updates for you, because I have, completely against the run of order of everything I've said I was going to do, I've painted an extra model, and that is this guy. Let's put him in my fingers. There he is. That is Haldir, the old Haldir, and this is the metal version, which I've had for a while. Now, yeah, I painted him, and I basically blitzed him in a day. I painted him almost completely on Friday, and then just finished him up a bit Sunday afternoon. Turn around. Oh God. And I absolutely adore this model. I absolutely love it. There it is. Amazing what difference your fingers make, isn't it? I've loved it for a very long time. I hated the Haldir, the unarmoured Haldir with the blade, and this one I just think is so much better in every sense. Just try and give you an idea of the highlights on the cloak there. So yeah, I've blitzed this guy in a day, and I'm really, really chuffed with him. I had an idea in my head that I think I can show you on the screen, can't I? Okay, indeed. So this is my kind of colour studies that I pulled up. That's the GW model there, and I really, really like the kind of pale minty greens that they got. I know it looks a bit washed out on the screen, it's a bit grey. And this is him from the movies, and you can see that he's not necessarily in green as much as in a kind of pale grey, greenish greys. I kind of wanted to go for something like that, and that's always what I've had in my head. And I was just experimenting with some different colours, and I think it's come out pretty well. I'm really, really pleased with the kind of pale greens I've got on him. And yeah, and it was one of those models where everything just kind of falls right. There wasn't a lot of, nothing went wrong. The kind of face kind of came out quite well, I think. I'm really, really chuffed with him. It was also an absolute treat, having done so much Hobbit stuff, to just go back to a classic kind of Lord of the Rings model. Kind of an old metal model, and just really slave on one kind of classic Perry Brothers sculpt. And the model is stunning, like the detail on it's just beautiful, and I'm really, really happy with the way this came out. It's gonna go in quite well there, I think. And the way I painted this guy was, as you can see, most of it's kind of various shades of greens and greys, and I basically made that with a combination of Nurgling green, Caliban green, Hessian grey, Codex grey, Pallid witch flesh, and Abaddon black. And basically those 6 colours there I just mixed all the other colours up. The benefit of only doing one hero as opposed to a batch of troops is you don't have to worry about colour consistency. So you can see kind of on my palette here there's just a big patch of green with different kind of greys and greens. And I just basically mixed all those colours up and just kept mixing up for the highlights. So I can't really tell you which colour anything is because it's not a specific GW colour. Beyond that, it's all a bit simple. The browns are more, is it Mornfang brown these days? No, Rhinox hide. Rhinox hide highlighted with Gorthor brown, highlighted with cracked stone. The gold's painted in exactly the same way my Mirkwood elves are currently being painted. And the hair was the Zandri dust shaded with Agrix Earthshade, then highlighted with Zandri dust and Karak stone. And that's kind of all there is to it, really. But I'm really, really, really chuffed with him. And I'm more chuffed, I think, because I actually got him done. Because Haldir he's one of those models that I got because I knew I wanted, and he's been sitting, you know, literally years down the painting queue, with no hope of getting any paint on him for a very, very, very long time. And he suddenly, inexplicably finds himself fully painted. He's going to take up residence in the miniature cabinet. And so I have a question for you, subscribers. Why have I suddenly painted this model? I didn't just do it on a whim. There is a reason that I've painted this model up, and I think you can probably work it out. So yeah, have a little think, and if you've got any ideas about why I would suddenly and inexplicably paint Haldir, you know, unarmoured Haldir, it's the kind of weakest profile, I suppose. Have a think about it and put it in the comments below. And if anyone gets it right, you win the chance to buy yourself a Frodo. So yeah, that is my Haldir model, who I love, 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 love. And let me know if you think you know why I've painted him. But yeah, so that was just a tiny little single burst of hobby I did over the last few days. As I said, mostly done in one day. Yeah, I'm now going to go back in time to show you a little bit of other hobby that I did over the Easter holidays a few weeks ago, and that'll hopefully give you a bit more content to watch while you're maybe doing some painting. Alright, cheers. It's obviously been a few weeks since my last vlog, and it's taken me a while. Part of the reason for that is that over Easter I went home to visit my parents. So I was there for about the best part of the week, and so couldn't do any painting. However, as you hopefully saw when I cleaned up the last set of elves, I did that at my folks, and I've started using this as a kind of making the most of my hobby time. So when I go home to see my parents, I bring home a couple of blister packs and try and get some stuff cleaned up that I'm planning to paint in the not too distant future. And one of the reasons for that is I absolutely despise cleaning stuff up. I hate that part of it. It's the worst part of the entire process for me. So I think it's quite efficient use of time when I'm at my parents and I can't do any painting to get some of the stuff cleaned up. And so that's what I did over Easter, and I brought these guys back. And these are two of the new Mirkwood Knights and the new mounted Legolas. So let's have a look at these guys. So we've got this chap here, it's a Mirkwood Knight, and they are good models. Like, the horses are cool, they're custom horses, you won't have seen these anymore, it's not like the plastic horses. But they, as I experienced with the other Finecast troops in the elves, they are absolutely hideous to clean up. I'll get onto that in a minute. Let's just show you this, guys. So that's him, and then the second one is this guy, and this guy looks fairly different, but I'm undecided. It's both quite a clever kit and quite a lazy kit, because if you can imagine, the elf and the cloak are identical on both, and that is sculpted onto one half of the horse. So like, oh no, both halves of the horse, sorry. So the horse body, without these two legs over here, the horse body and the two left legs, and the elf and the cloak are sculpted on. And then what you do is you add two different legs to the horse on this side, a head to the horse, and an arm and a head to the elf. So if you look at them, even though these look quite different, that's exactly the same elf body, and it's exactly the same horse. It's just that the right legs and the heads are different. So you can see it's quite versatile, but then equally it's maybe a bit boring. I think you'll find if you had any more of these that you'd quickly they'd start repeating the poses. But what you can do, I've put like one pair of legs with one head and one pair of legs with the other head. So if you got another 2, you'd swap the heads around maybe and swap the arms around, and you can even mix and match the legs. So I think you would be able to get a fair bit of variety. I was pleasantly surprised by how different these looked, considering they're both the same kind of base model. And then alongside that, I cleaned up Legolas, the brand new Legolas. So hopefully get painted. I'm not particularly keen on this model, if I'm honest. I much prefer the old matted leggy, but it was a kind of completion thing, and to just try and, seeing as he's actually got Orchrist, I thought it would be a decent thing to do if I was ever using this profile to have the right model for it. But he's quite cool. It's a nice sculpt. I'm just not massively keen on the pose, particularly. So there we go. The process, as I said, was absolutely hideous. Each one of these guys took, all in all, about 2 hours to clean up and fill. The fine cast models just have a horrendous... The actual process of cleaning them up, I still think is better than metal. You know, it's easier to carve off the little bits and bobs and easier to remove the mould lines. But they just have so much flash on them. Just these little triangles, just horrendous amounts of flash. And it just takes forever. And the bits don't line up properly. Just as they didn't with metal, to be fair. But the horse legs, you can see here where I've had to kind of green stuff all this area around here, and I've actually had to do a bit of kind of rudimentary sculpting. I know this looks awful on camera. I'm hoping it will be alright once it's painted. I've had to kind of make the rain there, and even a bit in there. Hopefully you see that bit that I've kind of sculpted in to be part of the rain. And I'm no fan of green stuff. I don't have the patience or the talent like someone like Dave or Steve to sculpt all this stuff. But it bores me to hell, and I hate it, and it never seems to do what I want. So if anyone wants to send me some free green stuff talent in the post, I'd gratefully accept that. But it's also just annoying when I'm not doing this as a conversion, I just want to get my troops kind of battle ready, and you have to just do an incredible amount of work with the green stuff just to kind of cover up these gaps. Now this isn't just a fine cast thing, I want to stress. I've got the old metal horses used to have exactly the same thing. If you buy Saruman mounted, the gaps between them are absolutely horrendous, the metal one. But it's just a frustration. I think people are more inclined to do it to spend time on this with a hero, but having to do all this work for a very basic troop is very frustrating. I had to do an awful lot on leggy, because as so many of the newer fine cast models are, this is just oddly put together. If you can imagine that if you're looking at it there, the right side of his horse and leggy's body and leg are one piece, so that all goes on, and then you glue on this other piece of the horse that also has his legs. Now why they couldn't do it like the Nightwood Knight and have, you know, both legs sculpted on the horse baffles me, but what it essentially means is you have to line up the two sides of the horse and the bits of leggy in the middle, and it's incredibly frustrating. As you can see, there was a fairly chunky gap that I had to fill there, and then a big gap down here, and a big gap around here. So an awful lot of green stuff filling work had to be done. You also get into the tricky thing of bits like this. If you look at his boot down here, you're gonna let me do that. I'm trying to find this. They extended out a lot further, and trying to work out where his kind of boot latches end and the flash begins is just a nightmare, and you can very easily end up cutting off a bit you shouldn't have done. But they're nice models. It's just a frustrating process to kind of go through to get them ready for the table. But they are just about ready now. Might just try and file down some of the green stuff a bit more, try and make it a bit smoother. So there we go. That was me assembling my Mirkwood Knights and my Legolas a few weeks ago, who are still assembled, but they've now been undercoated white, as I don't think they were in that video. And yeah, they're good to go. They're next in line, as it were. So that is my hobby log for this week. As I said, I think I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another kind of bumper hobby vlog. But until then, don't forget to comment. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've liked Haldir. I'm very, very pleased with him, and I hope you've kind of enjoyed this kind of surprise hobby vlog from myself. Anyway, as ever, don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Support your Hobbit hobby, and happy strategy battle gaming.